Hi everyone, this is CSProfessorPam with Jumpstart Code, and this video is going to focus on how to use Flexbox. Flexbox is one of the most important tools that you have in your toolbox for controlling the layout of your web page. So we are using this reference internetingishard.com, and we've gone through a number of the HTML and CSS lessons. I skipped floats because floats are really not as useful as Flexbox. So we're going to here. Now, I'm going to do this lesson a little differently. I'm going to refer to this, but I am actually going to write the code a little differently. So you will have, two different references, and it helps you to understand that there's more than one way to do something to get the same result. Now, Flexbox allows you to control alignment and direction of boxes, of parent boxes. And so it's very important to understand parents and children on your web page, and indenting your code is an important part of doing that. So what we are going to create is something that looks like this. But again, instead of just copying and pasting this code from this page and formatting, I want to show you the approach of how someone asks you to do this. Where do you get started? You have a blank HTML page. Well, I like to call it, you need to box it out. So I am going to start with this first box here, which is my header. And again, my code is going to be a little different from the code in this article. So I'm going to make a box for this, and I'm going to actually use the header tag for this because that's what this looks like to me. And inside of it, I've got some text here. This is going to be a paragraph tag. And then these two navigation things are going to be A tags. All right, so here's what we are going to start with. So let me go over here. I'm going to change up my code a little bit. I want to have a header. Let's get rid of this. Actually, I want to start with a div that I'm going to call container. That is my entire page, right? I like to do that. So here's the end of that div. Inside of this div, its first child is this header. This header has a paragraph. I'm going to put this date that is on here, August 14th. I'm going to change. Actually, let's make it more current. Let's make it July. And I have these two A tags. I have one that says sign up, and I have one that says login. All right, and these are three children of this parent called header. All right, let's save this. Let me refresh my page over here. Actually, let me start it up again. All right, now I have a little, oh, there you go. Look, there's a typo there. href equals, and this is supposed to be this. And I have another, do you see here? There's an extra, right? You gotta have a good eye for detail when you're doing this. All right, now I need to set up my CSS style sheet. Link href equals style.css. Okay, let's go add that file over here. Right? And just to make sure that I am connected, so there's a couple things I always do in my style sheet. At the very beginning, we're going to start with padding 0. This is kind of called a reset for our page. I need margin 0, and I want box sizing border box. I always start with that. All right, now I want to check that I'm connected, so I'm just going to give a background color to my page, because if this page is not connected, then nothing's going to work, right? And look, let's double check. So I've made a mistake here. Let's go to style. Look, same mistake. This is exactly why you have to take the time to do this. I actually didn't plan that. All right, so here we go. So my CSS is connected. Now, I want to style what's going on here on this first line. The first thing you need to do actually is understand, why am I seeing what I'm seeing? Well, a P tag is a block level tag, which means it wants to take up the entire width of the page. These A tags are inline, and that's why they are only taking up as much space as they have. I would like them all to be on the same line. To do this, we are going to use Flexbox. All right, it's always easiest if I just show you. Now, I don't need this body, although I don't want this background color. I want a font family. I just want a sans serif font family right now. All right, so who is the parent of these things that I want to lay out? Their parent is header, right? That's why this indenting is very important. So I am going to target header and tell it display flex. And just with that one thing, look at what happened. They're all now on the same line. Okay, there's a couple more things we want to do. I want to give this header a certain amount of height. So let's make it maybe 60 pixels. I'm even going to give it a background color. What did it look like in here? It's kind of a blue color. All right, so let's give it a background color of, I'm just going to grab this. So my colors are not going to match exactly. All right, so let's save. Look at what happened. All right, now, so they're all on this one line, but we want to be able to align them vertically and horizontally. The command to align them, and the default is that it wants to put them in a row. It turns out we can also use Flexbox to align things in a column, but the default is row because that's what's usually hardest to do. So just by saying display flex, that put them in a row. I'm going to add align items center. All right, so do you see now that everything in this box is now vertically centered, right? All right, now if I didn't have a height here, it would be hard to tell that it was aligned vertically. Let me comment this out. So again, how things get displayed or aligned often has to do with a height or a width. So the only way I can actually tell that they are being centered is because there is space to center them in. Okay, so that is that alignment. Now, for the horizontal alignment, that is justify content. And if I do center, so there are a number of options. One option is center, right? There's another option that is called space around. or actually I'm going to go space between first. I want to show you that. So if I use space between, then it takes the extra space and wants to put it between all the items. It spreads it evenly between all the items. There's another one which is space around. And now the extra space is distributed between and around. There's also flex start or flex end. So if I did flex end, then it's going to move everything all the way to the right side. Okay, so we don't want that. So if I do space between, the problem is right now, this header has 3 children and is treating all 3 of these children equally. I want these 2 on the right to kind of work together as a unit. And so in order to do that, I need to group them. Okay, so I'm going back to my HTML, and those things represent my nav. So I'm going to use the nav element here, and I'm going to add this nav in here, and I'm going to fix my indenting so I'm really clear about parents and children. All right, so now the parent header has 2 children. One is this paragraph and one is this nav. All right, so watch, just by making that change, look at now how it does it. When I said to space between, it's a space between the 2 children. The first child is this, the second child is this. So this is closer to what I want, okay? But there's a few things that I need to sort out here. I need some space on either end here. So what I want to do is for this header, I'm going to give it left and right margin. So I'm going to go over here to this header and give it margin. I don't want to give it anything top and bottom, so that one is going to be 0. Let's say 20 pixels, right and left. Right? So look, that moved. Actually, I think I want padding because I want it to be inside of the color. There you go, right? Depends on whether you want it inside or outside. So if I wanted it inside, that's padding. All right, I need to style these links here. So go to your HTML. What are they? They are A tags. But, you know, it's possible I may have some other A tags later on. If I want to style just the A tags that are within this nav, I can do that. And my approach is not to make a whole lot of extra class names if I can help it. Because the more class names you make, the easier it is to have typo problems. So if there's a way to reference those things without making a class name, then that's what I prefer to do. So this is going to target those A tags. Let me give them a color of black, just to make sure that I am targeting them. Oh, let's not. Speaking of typos, all right, let's remove the text decoration. And this is just a pattern that I use when I am styling a header, right? Now, I want space between these 2 things. So if I give padding, again, nothing on the top and bottom, and maybe 10 pixels left and right. All right, so here's what we have. So that actually looks pretty good. That looks very similar to what we have here. And if I want this border around this, I think we'll come back and maybe deal with that later. I don't want to deal with that level of detail right now. I want to talk about the overall layout of what's going on here. All right, so that is the beginning. That is my header. All right, so let's go on to the next horizontal box, which is this big box that says awesome logo. Now I need to go get make sure I have the images that go along with this. Actually, I'm going to pause this video for a second so I can go put all my image files in this directory.